The league is into week 2 here in Nigeria this weekend. Kingsley and teams are preparing aftermath of the first game that was played. Technical advisor of Kano Usman Abdallah is very positive that he could get a result against Bayelsa United.
Yes, I think for me, you take a look at it, Usman Abdallah is one man who is very much experienced in the league. Is one man who has coached Yenagoa Football Club. He's also coached Wiki Torres, had some time as well with some Npfl teams, and now he's at Kano Pillars. We saw them put up a very impressive performance in their first encounter. I think they actually trashed Ikorodu City 3-0 in that encounter at home. Rabi Ali, of course, getting a breeze in his 16th Npfl appearance, and this time around against Bayelsa United, I think it's going to be a tough one. Bayelsa United lost their first game, and I think they want to make sure they put things right this time around at home. So it's going to be a tough encounter between Kano Pillars and Bayelsa United, and we should be looking forward to see a very, very impressive one. Usman Abdallah, I think being at the helm of affairs now at Kano Pillars will really change this. Kano Pillars, they've not been at their best, for like 2 seasons now. But we hope that with Usman Abdallah there, things will definitely get better for Kano Pillars this time.
Well, talking about Kano Pillars reminds me of El Kanemi Warriors. They are presently, not in a very good shape. Aftermath of that flood that took place in Maiduguri. This is natural disaster. Do they have any reprieve from the football body?
Not yet. We've not really gotten any information if, Economic Warriors, of course, maybe any support so far from the Nigerian, for the Npfl, or probably from the Nigerian Football Federation. We've not really gotten any much of it. But I think for me, it's a very sad situation, taking a look at what is happening down there in Maiduguri. I think it has one way of affecting the team, especially when they have to maybe...
They're getting support from some other club sides here.
Yeah, I think some other clubs have given them, some level of support, at least in terms of some kind of motivational, words, and all of that. But from what we're seeing, I think Economic Warriors would be a little bit, disturbed, especially when they want to go out to execute away games. This might probably not be so good to them, because they need roads, to navigate their way to honor other games. It's not a very good situation for them, and we hope this doesn't really affect them this weekend as well.
Talking about this weekend, the fixture week 2 involving El Kanemi Warriors and their counterparts. It has been officially postponed by the Nigerian Premier League Football League. There will be no action between El Kanemi Warriors playing in Maiduguri against Kwara United. That match has been postponed indefinitely, and of course, it's no secret that it has to do with the massive flood that had taken up the city of Maiduguri, the capital of Borno State. It's been really a pitiable sight if you see the level of devastation from the flood. So that encounter between El Kanemi Warriors and Kwara United will not take place this weekend. The week 2 fixtures will have, I think, matches starting from tomorrow. Kingsley, do you see Remo Stars being able to upset their opponent this weekend, starting tomorrow at the Ikene Stadium, after having suffered some defeat from the continent? And now they have Sunshine Stars to begin to build with in their first encounter at home in the professional football league here in Nigeria.
Yes, for me, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Don't forget, Kennedy Boboye is the man at the helm of affairs for Sunshine Stars, and Daniel Ogumudedi, who is actually the assistant coach, of course, for the Super Eagles at the moment, is also the coach of Remo Stars. So you take a look at it, it promises to be an interesting, cracker. Remo Stars, of course, had a very good outing in their first game, even without the presence of the coach, who was, of course, on a national duty assignment. And for Kennedy Boboye, of course, he also got a favorable result in match day 1 for his side. So it's going to be an interesting one to watch out for. For Remo Stars, I think their consistency is something that we should commend, this time around. They've actually put up a very high level of, consistency in the Nigerian Premier Football League in the last 2 seasons. I will look forward to see what they were able to put up this time. So sad that the last 2 seasons we've seen them in the continent has been a really abysmal performance. Being hosted out in the first preliminary games is something that's not really commendable. As for Morocco, has always been on their neck. But when it comes down to the Nigerian Premier Football League, they're always a force, of course, to reckon with. And this weekend against Sunshine Stars, I think it promised to be a blockbuster.
Weekend fixtures, we talked about the Premier League getting to week 2. But 2 teams from Nigeria will not be part. In fact, now 4 teams will not be part of week 2 fixture. We told you how Academy Warriors will be matched against the Kwara United have been postponed. So Academy Warriors and the Kwara United are not part of week 2. The same will be for Rangers International. They are at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in the next few hours against their counterparts, Secranda Esperance, in the CAF Champions League qualification fixture. Kingsley, Rangers International using the Godswill Akpabio Stadium because of their own stadium not having passed the test for hosting of the CAF Champions League. 3 p.m. Nigerian time will be up against their counterpart. It wasn't very good in the first round fixtures. Hope they can improve on their second round fixture at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium.
Yes, I think for me, we just hope to see a better Enugu Rangers this time around, because I think from what we saw in the first game, they didn't do well at all. We expected them, of course, to beat the team from Comoros, in a very, very remarkable fashion. Comoros is not a team that should give us that, tough time. But we saw Enugu Rangers, they have to struggle to see their way through in that particular one. But against this particular one, I think they have to make sure they come out. Thank God the coach of the side is back with the team, talking about Fidelis Ilechukwu. We hope that they will be able to get things done this time. For some time now, I think Nigerian teams have not performed very well in the continent. And from what we've seen from Enugu Rangers, it seems to be a different, ball game this time. We hope that they will be able to, of course, put up a very impressive performance. Seeing how we can get to the next stage is something we're looking forward to at this point in time. It's going to be a very tough one, but we hope that with the brilliance of the coach, Fidelis Ilechukwu, and the players on ground, they were able to scale through this one. They're playing at home, so they should be able to at least, get more goals, because that's always the problem. When they don't get enough goals down here at home, whenever they go away, those are teams, of course, especially the northern teams, have what it takes, to be able to bring them down. So win the game, get like 3-4 goals, and of course you stay in a very comfortable position in executing the next encounter. Win
your next fixture and qualify for the group stage of the CAF Champions League, and that's what Rangers International have to do. They have 2 fixtures, first at home and a return leg fixture against Esperance Secrande. Meanwhile, Eyimba International is into the CAF Confederations Cup, and we understand they arrived yesterday in Burkina Faso up against their counterparts from Burkina Faso. Eyimba International, can they continue to make Nigeria proud? They are not. They are used to be playing in the CAF Champions League, but this time around they are playing in the Confederations Cup. They should be able to qualify for the group stage. Yeah, they were drawn by in the first leg, in the first round.
Yeah, they were drawn by in the first round based on their pedigree, in the game. And this time around, we hope that they will be able to put up a very impressive performance. Last outing was so abysmal for Eyimba. I think it's been a long time we'll see Eyimba putting up a very impressive performance in the continent. I think the only team that has done so well for the last, let's say, 2 or 3 seasons now is Rivers United, who got a back-to-back, quarter-final appearance, in the CAF Confederation Cup. And this time, I think Eyimba not being able to make it to the CAF Champions League should be able to stand their ground, this time around in the CAF Confederation Cup, to see how they can bring back that glory. If you take a look at it, Eyimba, they're the only Nigerian team that has done so well, in the continent. They won the CAF Champions League about twice, and now they've been finding it very difficult, of course, to replicate that same performance. With Kano at the aim of affairs, Olaruwaju, of course, the coach of the team at the moment, who actually came back, from Europe, where he actually went to, improve on his CV and, of course, his experience. He's back with the side. He had a very impressive outing in the first game down here in the Nigerian Premier Football League, thrashing Heartland FC, who is actually being coached by Emmanuel Munika. I think about 2 to 3 goals in that encounter. And heading down to this one, I think they should be able to build on that performance in this particular encounter in the continent.
Well, talking about continental football, we told you how Rangers International will be playing today at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. US Rangers of Algeria too have a fixture against their counterparts from Tunisia, US Monastir. So these are the fixtures coming up in the CAF Champions League today. I hope you can keep an eye on them as well. While tomorrow, actions will be in the CAF Confederations Cup. Cup, Enyimba International needs to qualify for the group stage of that encounter against their counterparts from Burkina Faso to Filante of Burkina Faso. Let's now go across to the World Cup taking place in Bogota, Colombia. It's sad news coming the way of Nigerians Super Falcons because they have now crashed out of the competition at the quarter-final stage, and it's Japan that sent out the Falcons. At the end of 90 minutes plus added time, it was 2-1 at the round of 16 in Bogota. Japan, known for their attacking prowess, scored 2 goals, and the Super Falcons had to struggle to score 1, but it wasn't good enough to stretch the match into to extra time.
Yeah, so sad, very disappointing that they couldn't get past this stage, of course, in the competition. We expected them, of course, to go far, and for me, I think they did their best. If you ask me, they actually did their best, but against Japan, we understand was going to be a difficult one because this
scored in 90th minutes.
Yeah, this Japan side, they are a very strong side. They had that scoring prowess. We saw the game against New Zealand where they trashed them 7-0. That was, of course, a huge statement of intent heading down to this one. We also saw the game against, Austria as well. So they had a very impressive performance right from the group stage. They even topped their group, heading down to this game against the Falconets, for Nigeria.
Japan beating 2 African sides. They beat the Blacks.
Yes, Nigeria and Ghana.
Ghana, right?
So for me, I knew it was going to be a very tough game, for the Falconets, heading down to this particular one. Yes, they did their best. I think they were able to get past, the likes of Korea, but beaten by Germany alongside at some points, in the group stage. But had a very impressive performance against Venezuela, which they beat them 4-0, heading down to this one against Japan. I knew that it's going to take a lot for Coach Christopher Danjuma, to be able to put up a very good performance to get past Japan. But it is what it is. It is a competition that they've participated. I think they were runners-up. They've been runners-up in this competition twice, and Germany, of course, has always been on their neck. But this time, it is Japan. I will hope, of course, to see the best, from the players going forward. For me, I don't really think we should be very disappointed with their performance. They did their best, but wasn't really good enough against Japan.
The international break is over, and the players of the national teams have returned back to their club side, and one of them, notably, is Victor Osimhen, who took part in the first training session with his club side, Galatasaray of Turkey. Osimhen barely had time to land in Istanbul, and of course, went straight into a practice session.
Busy moments, busy time for Victor Osimhen. After signing the contract, the loan deal with Galatasaray, he actually came for the national games and had a little bit of an impressive moment, of course, with the Super Eagles and the 2 games against Benin Republic and Rwanda. And immediately, he has to, of course, get down to Turkey once again. And starting up training, I tell you, hasn't been, an easy one. And we hope to see him as well, in the games, of course, for Galatasaray. This is a time that Victor Osimhen, of course, has to prove himself. From what we've seen so far, it looks as if people do not really have that confidence on him when it has to do with his prowess, when in terms of goal scoring. We should be able to see more from him. And thank God he was able to register a goal for the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the game against Benin Republic. And we hope that will give him that confidence to be able to, of course, replicate the performance we saw in Napoli when he helped them, of course, to win the Scudetto. So a lot of expectation from Victor Osimhen at this point. He has a lot to prove, and we hope that, of course, he'll be able to do that at the end of the day.
Well, Arsenal manager Arteta has gotten a new 3-year contract. Do you think this is befitting or deserving after what we've seen of him in the last 3 years?
For me, I think it's very deserving. Is Arteta the man to help Arsenal get to where they want to get to, winning the Premier League, possibly the Champions League as well? I think if you ask me, I will say yes. With what we're seeing Arsenal, with what they've done in the last 2 seasons, finishing runner-up in the Premier League, I think they have what it takes. Arteta has what it takes. It started since 2019, and from 2019 down to this year, you see massive improvements in Arsenal Football Club, in their pattern of play, in the result they churn out. So for me, I think it's really deserving for Mikel Arteta. We hope to see the best from him at Arsenal this time.
Congratulations to Mikel Arteta for another 3 years, and I hope we can get a trophy into the cabinet as well within the period. Manchester City, we understand, will begin to face their over 100 charges for financial, do I say, misrule in the next couple of days. Monday, to be precise, we understand City will begin to face the panel aftermath of that, their financial breach.
This has been long overdue, Mr. Siri. We've been waiting for this day or this time, where City, of course, will be investigated because this matter has been postponed on several occasions. And at this point in time, I think if they actually find wanting, they will pay.
They have over 100 charges?
Over 100 charges. So wow. It's going to mean a whole lot if they don't do enough, of course, to get them. We heard they've hired a lot of, they hired the best of lawyers, to help them, get past this one. But we'll see what the Premier League board will be able to do if maybe they find anything against them and all of that. So let's just see. The matter has been, of course, we've been waiting for this one, and now it has come. Let's see how it is.
Kylian Mbappe, 55 million euros to be paid by Paris Saint-Germain in the next 8 days. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money, and I tell you, it's been a loggerhead between Mbappe and Paris Saint-Germain. This is the money that the man, of course, has been clamoring for some time. And Paris Saint-Germain has said that he waived, this particular one, but Mbappe is that he did not waive anything, that they should pay him, of course, his money. He actually took the matter, of course, to the Football Federation down there in France, to take a look at it. And I think they mediated into it. And now they've asked PSG, of course, to pay the man what is due to him. For me, I think it's deserving. A laborer, of course, deserves his wages. And that's what Mbappe is insisting on.
Well, that's the much we can take on this edition of the program.